In the spiraling towers of Neo-Singapore, citizens use advanced neural bands to explore past lives and expand their consciousness. Among them is Chen, a technician whose daily routine involves monitoring these highly engineered moments of clarity. Echo works at the Institute of Recursive Memory. Here, spiritual awakening is a heavily monetized commodity, accessible only to those who can afford million-dollar technological guidance to reach a sanitized state of cosmic peace. But Echo's own mind starts bypassing the equipment. He wakes up with vivid, impossible memories of betrayals and lost loves, raw, messy experiences that hold no engineered perfection, yet feel deeply authentic. The devices designed to connect Neo-Singapore's elite to a higher state of awareness are actively insulating them from the complex reality of being human. This raises a vital question, often posed by the philosophical guides known as the Professor and the Monkey. If true awakening requires exclusive, expensive hardware, who actually controls the right to wake up? Consider the alternative. The elite tech might simply be training wheels. The people locked out of the towers are likely already riding the bike, practicing deep awareness without anyone's permission. Consider two lighthouses. One uses an electric beacon, cutting 20 miles into the dark. The other relies on a simple oil lamp. When a storm cuts power, the high-tech beacon dies, but the oil lamp keeper tends his flame by hand, guiding ships safely to shore. This turns spiritual development into a form of gentrification. The system favors the expensive beacon over the manual skill of the oil lamp, leaving the high-tech seekers entirely dependent on a grid that can be taken away. That pressure arrives as a reality storm, a citywide surge of raw, unfiltered collective consciousness that strips away Neo-Singapore's carefully maintained illusions. As the storm hits, the wealthy retreat into their towers, using expensive technological fields to mute the intensity. Down in the lower districts, residents without those shields are hit forcefully by the sudden wave of unprocessed collective trauma. Out in the unprotected streets, a local artist named Maya gathers her community in a garden. They don't hide from the storm. They weather the chaos through direct human connection, physically grounding each other to process the fear and panic together. Up in the penthouses, elite gurus teach the concept of the cosmic bypass. They claim that worldly suffering is merely an illusion, and true evolution requires completely detaching from the messy struggles of the physical world. Shielding yourself from the pain of others under the banner of spiritual superiority renders you entirely useless to a community in crisis. This introduces a paradox. If a person's awakening becomes so universally vast that they see everyone's perspective at once, they lose the capacity to help anyone in particular. Attempting to be everything, everywhere, all at once inevitably means you lose the ability to be anything specific to the person sitting right in front of you. When a single focused point of attachment expands outward into an infinite universal grid, it loses specific gravity. Echo discovers if he loves the universe equally, he can no longer show up to support a single hurting friend. He and his colleague, Dr. Chen, uncover the mechanism behind this isolation. The Institute's high-tech paradigm is purposefully engineered to keep citizens endlessly focused on achieving their own personal cosmic perfection, ensuring they never look down to challenge the systemic inequalities below them. Surrounded by his monitoring equipment, Echo realizes the Institute's path was designed to keep him perpetually inward-facing. Every breakthrough was a distraction, a way to keep him occupied with his own perfection while the city's actual crisis remained invisible. Echo walks away from the sterile perfection of the penthouse. He goes down to Maya's community garden and plunges his hands into the dirt, choosing the chaotic, demanding reality of local service over the illusion of individual transcendence. This choice forces a difficult question. How does a person hold on to an awareness of infinite consciousness while continuing to live as an authentically flawed, struggling human being? The answer is surprisingly simple. True awakening doesn't cure your imperfections. It simply makes you much better at being imperfect. Consider the parable of the cracked vessel. A beautifully fired water jug develops a sharp fracture down its side, leaking constantly. The jug mourns its condition, convinced that its physical flaw has made it entirely useless to the world. But as the jug is carried back and forth from the well each day, the water leaking from its broken side secretly waters the dry soil, nurturing a vibrant trail of wildflowers along the otherwise barren path. Those individual flaws, the anxieties and the broken parts of our histories, are exactly the mechanisms that allow us to connect with and serve the people around us. The linear progression toward an exit door begins to curve. It bends back onto itself, forming a recursive spiral known as the origin loop. It is an ongoing cycle of waking up, confronting our profound limitations, and choosing to stay engaged in the difficult work of serving the collective anyway. The institutional goal is to somehow graduate from humanity. The true spiritual practice is continuously choosing to begin again, armed with the messy, vital wisdom of the community. So the question remains, having glimpsed the nature of consciousness, what story will it tell through your unique awareness? Awakening shifts from a private achievement to a collective responsibility. It's the daily, shared work of learning to love the process of waking up together.